Hello, my name is Luis Marquez. I'm 29 years old. Everybody knows me as Lucho. And I am an expert on making mistakes. The reason why I'm doing this is to try to teach myself from it and probably teach or let you know that you could also learn from this very long list of mistakes and thoughts that have gone through my mind for my whole life. I'm probably gonna talk about many personal things around the course of my whole life. I really hope I don't offend anybody more than what I have before. But I just feel that I gotta do this. Not for somebody in specific, even though I've been influenced by a lot of people and things that had recently happened. But I just feel that there's some things in my mind and in my heart that needs to be shared with the world. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody. I just feel that there's something important to say about my story. Important to learn about all this. But I'm gonna start talking about one thing that to me is the source of everything, but at the same time is the hardest thing to find in this world. And I'm obviously talking about love. And I'm not talking about love out of pain or out of missing love. I'm gonna talk about the real love, what real love is. This is not a preaching, this is not a church. But God is gonna be involved. Definitely. To me, He's the main source of love there is. But I just wanna start calling people that are either in relationships or thinking about relationship of the past where the concept of love might have been confused by different situations. You know, love is not a feeling, for starters. This love is a lot of things, but the main and the first thing that love is a decision. There's no way to accomplish the real love, the love that the Bible talks about in First Corinthians 13. There's no way to accomplish that without knowing that this is about a decision. This is not about feelings. This is not about circumstances. This is not about what other people think. Love is a decision, always, no matter what. And remember that. Remember the no matter what part. It is very, very important. Like I said, I've made a lot of mistakes before. Been judged by it. Probably paying for it right now. But in the way, I realize how many times I misunderstood what love and need are different by. They're different. You know, it's easy to say that you love someone when it's about agreeing or something, when it's about making things work, when it's about being romantic, when it's about caring. It's easy. But what about when you really, really, really have to sacrifice something of yourself? Something painful, something difficult. how much are you willing to give and take away from yourself in order to love someone? Let's be real. You know, most of my friends are either in a long-term relationship or married. And I hear stories all the time. Oh, she will never do this, he will never do that. And some people are really trying to sacrifice. Some people are really trying to make things work, but there is this, again, misconception of making the other person understand that it's about how much you love me the way I am. And this unwillingness to change is a thing. It's a thing in this world. It's a thing that is affecting almost everybody that I know. And I think that is really worth it to reflect on this, like to think, how much are you actually willing to do in order to keep your decision of loving someone? Because love is not either possess something. We confuse that too. Like, I love you as far as you're with me, right? Well, not quite. I think love has to be unconditional, and that's when it gets really crazy. And that's when I need to find all the sources of love and just end up thinking about God, because is the only one who actually accomplished such a thing. Yeah, like loving you without having a reason, loving you even after all the mistakes that you have made against me, loving you even though you are literally killing me. We see this on the movies sometimes. We see this on the Bible a lot of times. But we don't really see that in our life very often. Let's just be real about that. Let me just read it with my very stupid and strong accent from the Bible, 1 Corinthians 13. So just a little part. Let me see, maybe I could start from the verse 2. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I might boast but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoice with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. I'm gonna stop right there. And I want you to think about every single part of it and actually ask yourself, if you ever loved someone, how real that is in the worst case scenario. It could be for family, it could be for the person that you had a relationship with. Let's be real. It is hard. It is hard to always hope. It is hard to always forgive. It is hard this no matter what part. You know, it's really, really, really hard to love someone when it's gone, for example, when it's not close to you. It is hard when to love someone that is constantly harming you. And of course, I need to understand people that are in just way too crazy circumstances when they literally have to make a decision of survival and, realize they made a mistake and have to restructure the reasons why they made that decision. I get all those things. But if you really, really, really decide in your heart that you really, really love someone, you gotta test yourself and make a decision before it's too late to see how much are you willing to give, let go, change, transform. Because again, it's not about just telling the other person, oh, you need to be how I am, because if not, you don't really love me. No. It's all about you. It's all about you, regardless of whatever the person is doing, thinking, or feeling. And that is dangerous, of course. We're humans. Like, that is hard as hell. But if you ever do that, I'll tell you from experience, if you ever start to rejoice and find pleasure on doing these things, you're gonna find a whole different level of love and happiness in your life that nothing else could give you. When you accomplish something, let's just talk about the little things, let's just say that you have a really, really big hard time by, I don't know, let's just say being organized at home, folding clothes or something like that. Let's just say that as an example. You live with your partner and it's just totally impossible for you to fold your clothes or be organized on the house. And you might have a lot of reasons to be like that. Million. But let's just say that that's a big, big, big need for your partner. He's been telling you that. She's been complaining about that. Whatever. And then you start and then you realize, man, this is totally impossible for me. Like I'm not gonna be able to do this ever. Well, you just found a way to figure it out if you actually love someone or not. Because if you even try, that is the hardest thing to find in this world. There's people that they will lie to you. There's people that they will play around for a couple days and then just be themselves again. Well, when you find somebody that is actually understanding the situation, is passionate about making that happen, and say, okay, you really need this, I'm gonna work on it. And then you see this person watching a YouTube tutorial on how to fold clothes, putting stick notes to don't forget things in the house, and still being a mess but trying. That is a whole different level of love. And this person might be super busy, it could be a really big deal. Let's just talk about other things. Let's just talk about express yourself. Let's just say you're a very tough person because of your past, because of your family, and you cannot just say things. You cannot be sweet. You cannot be romantic. Let's just say you're one of those. What about if you start writing things? What about if you start with a message, with a text, and then you move forward, and then you say, I love you, one other time, maybe by mistake, maybe joking. And then you just start improving yourself. And then both persons, the person that is trying and the person that is receiving, are gonna reach that level. And let me tell you, I've been there. It is the most beautiful feeling that you could have. Because love is beautiful just as it is, just giving it away. Just giving love and changing for that person and sacrificing yourself for that person is beautiful itself. But when you receive that, that's why I still believe in love in this world. Is it hard to find? Oh yeah. We are so selfish. We are really selfish creatures. We're flesh, bro. We have a problem. We have many problems in our head. And very few of us are willing to sacrifice themselves and renew themselves and renew their minds over and over again in order to make that happen. I also suffered what it is to give love and not receive anything back. And this person not to ever try for whatever reason. It doesn't matter how good of a reason you have. It really doesn't matter. Because if you look at God, let's just talk about this for a second. God sacrificed himself. Jesus Christ sacrificed himself. Believe it as it is if you're a Christian, or believe it as a story if you're not. God separated himself for everything he was. The most powerful thing on the universe, the creator of the universe. From his throne, from his power, from heaven, he separated himself in order to come here, be one of us, and be sacrificed by us, crucified, killed for our fault, for our mistakes. He did it without us even asking. I mean, of course we're not God, but I'm just saying, it is a real demonstration of how much real love is willing to give, or how much of a good reason you could have to not do it. If I was God, I could solve issues way differently than just letting you crucify me, for God's sake. Let's be real. Let's think, if you were God, would you give away your son for a bunch of sinners? Would you kill yourself for a bunch of sinners? Man, we're too selfish for that. What about forgiveness? What about this person that is trying? It's just too messy. It's just keeps trying but keeps messing up. How far can you go forgiving that person? What about if that person did the very most painful thing you could even think of? If you ever loved that person, let me tell you, yes, it is possible to forgive and forget. And just create new memories with this person later on. But there again, let's be real. Are you willing? I'm gonna tell you a couple stories about this later in other voice notes. Again, I've been on both sides of the roads many times. And I can tell you, I've seen it. I've seen people forgiving other one. I've seen people, like, for example, I've seen parents forgiving the daughter's killer, for example. I've seen it, like, doing it for real, having, like, saying that there was a purpose for it and things like that. It might be unthinkable for you, but people that really learn how to love, and how to understand that God has a purpose for everything, we just see the world differently. And yeah, that doesn't make it easier. You know, we go through things as anybody else, but in the long run, we're the happiest people on earth. Because it doesn't matter how much I accomplish, doesn't matter how much money you can make, doesn't matter how many friends you can have, doesn't matter how successful you are. I promise you, your heart is never gonna be so full that when you have any of these two feelings, either when you realize you're giving real love or when you receive it. I promise you, there's nothing better than this on existence. I'm gonna stop here before I go crazy because I'm very passionate about this. I think this is a good enough start. I'm gonna post another one later on, something I wrote. But I just want you to think about this. Let's start with thinking about these few things we just spoke about. I really hope at some point this could be a conversation with somebody. Not a fight, just, I really believe these are facts for me, but we could always have a conversation that could actually help to express myself, maybe. But if you feel that you have an opportunity to change for somebody, to forgive somebody, to separate from yourself for somebody, let me tell you one last thing before I go today. It's always the right time. It's always possible. It is probably gonna be painful and not easy. But once you accomplish that, you're gonna be a just way, way better human being. I can promise you that. There's no other way. There's no losing on this battle. If you really, really love somebody.